Meanwhile, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan joining me on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday on the whistleblowers accusing the FBI of being weaponized. Watch this.
They have the full wrath of the FBI come down on them, and as Garret O'Boyle said, they're attempting to crush them and chill any other whistleblowers from coming forward and telling us about the wrongdoing going on in the Justice Department.
Yes, FBI agent Garret O'Boyle and two others testifying before Congress last week, alleging that they were actually the victims of retaliation. Watch.
The FBI will crush you. This government will crush you and your family if you try to expose the truth about things that they are doing that are wrong. And we are all examples of that.
Joining me right now in a First on Fox business interview, the man himself, FBI whistleblower Garret O'Boyle. Garret, thanks very much for being here this morning. I was really dismayed to hear what you have been through. You say your life was upended, that the FBI left your family homeless after you spoke out. What happened? And tell me when you first started to feel this retaliation.
So I really started to feel the retaliation the day I got suspended. I was completely unaware that that was coming and that that was going to happen. As I testified, I had been selected for a new specialty unit in the Quantico region. And after we sold our house and had our youngest daughter and began to move across the country, when I reported for duty on that first day, I was promptly suspended, and that is really when the retaliation began.
That is really terrible. How long had you been with the FBI at that point? You've been a loyal soldier to this government for a long time, and because you spoke out about what you saw happening, you were retaliated against. How long were you at the FBI? And tell me what happened that you witnessed the rot that you and your colleagues talked about in testimony.
Right. So I had been with the FBI just about 4 years when I was suspended. And in total, I've served this country or my community for 14 years. And yeah, some of the things we testified about include, just a reasonable belief that the FBI is intentionally mishandling investigations, including padding statistics on how they represent facts to Congress, and a number of other issues like the domestic violent extremism symbols guide that I testified to, and there's a number of things that we can talk about regarding concern that not only us whistleblowers but many employees in the FBI have.
And did you feel that it was largely the leadership? Because, Garret, we've covered this, and as the FBI pursued wiretaps on Trump officials, Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, among others, even though they had absolutely no evidence of any collusion, and that, of course, story divided our country greatly. Then they sat on the Biden laptop as President Trump was getting impeached. And they pursued doing an investigation of Trump and didn't do anything about Hillary Clinton, even though there were claims that she was accepting money from foreign powers. How did this all play out within the agency while you were there?
Right. It certainly appears that it's a two-tiered system, and it's in favor of one political leaning over the other. And inside the agency, from my view, as a line agent, it is. Many of us saw these things, similar things to what you just mentioned. And yes, that rot, it is at the headquarters level. It is at the top. I would estimate probably 20% of the agency, the senior executive staff level. And honestly, it's probably not even all of them, just a lion's share of them who have really distorted and twisted the agency. I've compared it to a Hoover-like FBI again, where back then it was really just Hoover who was running the show and in charge and had his own henchmen. Now, I think Director Wray is pretty much insulated from a lot of that, and maybe he does that intentionally, and then it's these other SES level employees who are more of a conglomerate of a Hoover. It's like a 10-headed snake instead of a one-headed snake today.
So what does the masses at the FBI say? How is the sentiment on the ground? I know that there are amazing people who work at the FBI, amazing, loyal to America people who work there, and they want a bias-free environment. But what are you actually witnessing on the ground, and how does the sentiment, how has it changed within the ranks?
So the sentiment has changed in that, a former colleague reached out to me after my testimony, and we discussed how a number of senior level agents on his squad. So these are agents who have had 10, 15 years. They're getting closer to retirement. He said that all of them cannot wait to get to retirement. They want to get out of the agency as fast as possible, but they just want to keep their heads down and make it to that retirement, which from my view and from the situation I'm in, I think that that's an unfortunate position to take, because if every employee in the FBI, agents, analysts, it doesn't matter what type of employee you are, if they all stood up and pointed out the wrongdoing that the FBI is engaging in, I think we'd be better off as a nation.
Yeah, we're looking at the others who were suspended after questioning the handling of so many investigations. So now we're left with the question of, what happens now? What is going to fix this? I spoke with Congressman Jim Jordan yesterday about how he'll use the appropriations process to dial back the FBI. And here's what he said to me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. Watch.
Speaker McCarthy and Republicans are committed to doing all 12 appropriation bills that fund the government over the next several months. I think the first one will be coming out in a couple weeks. We've been meeting with the appropriation staff, our staff on Judiciary Committee, to work on how we can limit money, American tax dollars, being used in these ways, and deal with the overall budget that the FBI and the DOJ is receiving.
Garret, of course, we all follow the money, but is that going to be enough to hold back funding for the FBI, to change the culture? Or do you feel that you really need a new head at the top? Christopher Wray has been there now after Jim Comey. Is it the same culture under Wray that it was under Comey?
In my tenure, I had only served under Wray, but there did seem to be a dramatic change in the culture in just the short time I was there. Now, that being said, with the appropriations process, I think that's a good starting point, but there are other things that need to change too, and I hope people like Congressman Jordan and others, current and former FBI employees, as I testified to, we all need to come together to really fix the cancerous rot that is being seen at the FBI.
Garret, what are you going to do? I mean, you've been a loyal employee there for now 4 years. You've served the government for 14 years. You got suspended. You said it made your family homeless. What are your plans?
We honestly are taking it day by day. We're trusting in the Lord and his provision and his guidance, and he's the one planting our steps and paving our way. And we don't necessarily know what the way is right now. That being said, we're starting to see a lot of support, and I'm going to continue this fight. The FBI still claims that I'm technically an employee. I'm just suspended. So I'm going to now keep speaking out about these problems in the FBI. I'm going to continue to try to fight and get my job back. I won't hold my breath there, because I'm sure they are going to ramp up the pressure to try to get rid of me even more now. But we're just going to take it step by step and trust in God's providence for us and my family and for this nation.
Garret, are you still getting paid then?
No, I've not been getting paid for many months now.
Well, you just said that they said you're still technically an employee.
Right. So this is part of their tyrannical retaliation. They suspend your security clearance, and then they say, you are technically an employee, and then they suspend your pay because they ratify the decision that they had made about suspending your security clearance to begin with. And they basically try to keep you in a purgatory-like state, because if I was to resign, then I would have no recourse, because if I tried to sue to get my job back, the FBI would simply say, hey, he resigned on his own volition. We didn't have anything to do with that. He chose to resign. I don't plan on resigning anytime soon. I won't be able to do this forever. But for now, we're going to keep trying to fight the good fight and shine a light in the darkness that the FBI continues to try to hide.
Garret, it takes real courage to do what you're doing. We appreciate that, and we appreciate your leadership. We hope that you'll come back soon to keep us updated. We're going to certainly keep a spotlight on this, Garret. That you can be sure of.
Thank you, Maria.